Welcome to the Everyday Game Changers podcast. You will hear from everyday people in business, music, community, and more who are changing the game. And now your host, marketing expert, and personal branding specialist, Barion McQueen.
Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Game Changers podcast. We talking to everyday people that's changing the game in business, community, music, and more. And today is no different. I got a special guest. This is important to me because I got somebody here that got bars, that can actually rap, who appreciates the culture, who I feel like he went to hip-hop college. He understands the essence of hip-hop. Mr. Apollo Lofton. I appreciate you, bro. This is gonna be a very easy conversation. We probably done chopped it up an hour already. Just kind of.
We already gave material.
Yeah, like y'all missed some, so y'all gonna have to hit Gene up for that info. Shout out to Gene holding us down behind the camera. We at Vision House Studios, man. In the middle of Miami, Wynwood. So, you originally from Miami?
Yes, sir. I was born here.
Born in Miami.
Miami, Florida.
That's different. I never hear. Every time I meet somebody, they not from here.
Where?
Everybody like, oh, I came from
somewhere else, from New York, from up north.
Right.
Nah, I'm from here. I'm from Dade County.
So you being in this music scene, how have you seen the Miami music scene change since you've been a tyke to where you are now?
Got you. I feel like it's getting more artistic. Okay. I feel like people are basically like diving into the artistic nature. I feel like a lot of it was a lot party scene back then with the pit bulls and like, really coming up in that era with DJ Khaled and he was, DJing. But now I feel like people are tapping into their more creative side, the more artistic side. It has more of an artistic edge.
Got you.
Maybe. You feel me? You're still missing a lot. That's just, my opinion.
So
but it is getting.
When it comes to this like hip hop thing, how are you introduced to this idea of like, what is this thing we call hip hop? Like, how do you become a fan of that?
My introduction to hip hop was, it's kind of like fate. You stumbled upon it, right? And that's basically what happened to me. I didn't have no big brother, no big cousin, you feel what I'm saying? Like even a homeboy that put me on to hip hop. Because that's usually how it happens. You have a big brother who's bumping Pac and then you get put on to Pac.
Right.
You feel me? But now I stumbled upon it. I had my first computer at 9 years old, right? And I was looking for some lyrics on the internet. I'm new to the internet, so I'm looking all over the place, right? And I stumble upon these lyric pages. Right? I heard a song on the radio and I'm looking for it. And the first video that I stumble upon is Dear Mama by Pac. And that was my first introduction to hip hop.
So those lyrics?
Just that video. I was looking for a completely different song and that video just popped out of nowhere. And I'm like, yo, what's that?
Wow.
Clicked on it and it was Pac, Dear Mama.
Wow.
And that was the first hip hop song that I've heard. You feel me? And then automatically right after, it was Eminem's When I'm Gone.
Oh, snap.
And that's when I automatically knew.
Like, I love this shit.
I knew something was there.
Right.
You feel me? Like, I had that funny feeling. I got goosebumps right now. Like, I had that funny feeling of like, man, what is this? Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's so special. It's making me feel some type of way. I don't know these characters. Right. I don't even know their story. I don't even know Pac's lingo. Right. I'm a 9-year-old Cuban kid from Dade County. Right. And he's talking about like incarceration. He's talking about, you feel what I'm saying? Like crack dealing. Like, yeah, I had my mother issues with drugs, but like he's talking about a whole different world, but I still related to it. So I was curious, like, why am I relating to that? Why am I gravitating towards that energy? You feel me?
That's dope.
And yo, I can't describe a better introduction than that. There's probably somebody out there in the world, you feel me, with a better story, but the fact that I got introduced to hip hop with two of like the biggest juggernauts of the game.
That's dope.
With two storytelling joints. Yeah. I feel like that molded my like DNA for being an artist.
So when you get into being an artist, because those was the two artists you probably got hip to first, how does that craft your sound when you start finding yourself?
I think that helped me become, I think that helped me dive into lyricism head first. Because we're talking about two lyricists, right? We're talking about an excellent storyteller and a very passionate speaker in Pac, right? And then we also have an excellent storyteller but an extremely lyrical and like very technical type of rapper with Eminem.
Right.
So if that's my introduction and then that's who I'm inspired by at first, and then shortly after Big Pun and Big L with Nas, and it's like,
okay,
how can my DNA not be lyrics first and then grasping the concept of making a song?
Start off with the hubbity bubbity.
I didn't start off with that, and I didn't start off with like no pop style type of joints or no radio hits.
Gotcha.
Right? Because if my introduction would have been that, it probably wouldn't have been so lyrical at first. It would have been like, how do I make a song?
Right.
My intentions for rapping wasn't that. I had to learn that late, actually.
Right.
You feel me?
That's dope. So like, I've been seeing on social media a lot of this stuff with this versus stuff with JayZ.
Okay, I'm glad you talked. I was just talking to my homeboy about that shit, man.
JayZ is at my top. He's my number one.
He's my number one too.
Five,
so,
right? So like, who can, like, I seen somebody put up a side by side of JayZ versus Lil Wayne.
Gotcha.
That was the closest one that I felt like, okay, that might. When I looked at the track list,
it might work out.
Two Mr. Carters.
Makes sense.
You know, because Wayne was so hot.
Yes.
He was on a lot of stuff that
For
I think people like, damn, Wayne did 100 features or something
in a
one
year,
right? So like, that was the closest. Who's your pick against JayZ? Is there anybody can go against him?
I'm gonna show this shit to Jay later on in the future. I've always had your back, my brother. Nobody's touching J-Ho.
Right.
That's at least in my opinion.
Okay.
But I do think the closest person who can give him at least a run for his money, and it's not Mr. Carter, it's not Tucci, is Ye. Right. And I still even think that like Jay has a checkmate over him and most of these rappers, right? Because like everybody's favorite rapper at this point is kind of JayZ. It kind of feels like that.
Yes.
Right. But Ye will probably give him a run for his money.
I feel like that. So.
You feel me? Like as much of a Lil Wayne fan, I'm a big Lil Wayne fan. I grew up mostly on Lil Wayne, more than JayZ. I discovered JayZ after Lil Wayne.
Okay.
You feel me? But JayZ's a different
I'm gonna
animal.
share a story that a handful of my best friend, Leah, I'm sorry you keep coming up in these interviews. One of my good friends is Kanye's cousin, right? So the first time I met Kanye was the same night I met JayZ.
Word.
So I was so excited to meet Kanye until I found out it was a Watch the Throne show.
Oh wow.
And Hov was there. So it was just like, love you, Ye, but it's fucking Hov, right?
It's Hov.
But I like that though. That would be a show.
It would be a spectacular show. And I don't think he'll win, but I do think he'll give him a run for his money. You know?
Yeah, because I think that's the thing with JayZ when you look at how long his career has spanned over time. It's just like he got so many bodies of work.
So many bodies
and hits
of work.
That it's like.
And street anthems and freestyles that then transcend into being hits or you know, like at least very, very good street.
And anything with his wife.
And anything with his wife. So it's like this is like a cheat code at this point.
That's a fact.
So you're the GOAT to all these rappers, but then you have all these strings pulled with, you know, with Rockefeller, right? And then you have Beans, and then you have Freeway, and then you got Kanye, and then you got like what else?
That was when hip hop was so fun.
It was ridiculously fun.
Hip hop was fun. Like,
looking back on it, you probably obviously you was.
Hip hop was. You know how I got introduced to hip hop? I was in Philadelphia, and I didn't understand the battle culture.
Okay.
I was in Philadelphia on South Street. South Street, if you from Delaware and you wanted to go get your sneaks and your gear, you didn't shop in Delaware. You went to Philly.
Gotcha.
You want to go get your Mitchell and Ness jerseys and shit, you go to Philly. We don't have that in Delaware, right? So we would go to Philly, and in front of the Mitchell and Ness store, it was just a herd of people. I didn't know what was going on. And I get close, and it's just two guys just rapping it. One guy spit his verse, another guy come back, spit his verse. The rapper that I found out at the time, when we had this conversation, the rapper was Cassidy.
Wow.
He just was Barry at the time when he was spitting his raps. It was Cassidy. Cassidy was the first rapper that I really just was like, where I learned like punchlines, where I thought that was the fucking coolest thing, that this guy had so many punchlines when he raps and he's so witty with the metaphors, was Cassidy, bro.
Very dope.
And then when I got familiar with Cassidy, I slowly just started. I didn't get to JayZ until I went through all the Philly guys that I knew, right? So I started with Cassidy. Then the infamous Cassidy and Freeway thing happens, right? And then it's the Beanie Siegel one. Then I meet Petey Crack, and then it's the Young Guns. And then, so I knew everybody in the Philly thing. And then when I found out they get signed to Rockefeller is how I'm introduced to JayZ.
That's your introduction.
And I'm like, oh my God, I've been looking at the wrong guys all this time. Like this.
It kind of felt like that for me too.
Hard Knock Life was the first JayZ record I heard.
Very dope. Very dope. I wish I could remember what JayZ record I stumbled on first.
That was the first song I had downloaded from the radio with a cassette tape. You used to put the little tissue into a cassette tape, and you can record over what was on the tape.
Wow.
From the radio. So I did that. It was Hard Knock Life. That was the first song I wrote the lyrics down to because I wanted to learn the verse.
Very dope.
So I would get 4 bars, pause it, rewind it back.
Get another 4
until I learned that. I'm standing on the corner bopping. You know, I was just like, that was it.
Hard bop, yeah.
The second song I ever wrote down was Eve.
Very dope. Because
I was looking for a female that did what JayZ did, and Eve was the closest thing in Philly at the time.
She's very dope.
And it was the, what y'all niggas want? Who we want, right? It was that. Her verses were so hard. That was the second rap I ever memorized and learned, and I'm like, I like this thing, this rap.
This thing called hip-hop, this rap, this.
And then it just like, from there, I'm just like, now I want to understand where it started, right?
Gotcha.
So where are you at when you like, you know you on to something with hip-hop, but you like, all right, let me go back and understand it. Do you go back and
I always go back. I always go back.
Listen to some documentaries or?
For sure. I'm starting to realize what works for me in terms of like my inspiration and my artistry, right? So documentaries definitely help me a lot. Documentaries, that's one way of me going back, right? Sometimes I do feel I get too lost in my creative process and too caught up in what I'm doing to like pause that and let me go learn. But in the creative funks, or at least my break times, that I'm learning how to actually get those too.
That's dope.
Right? Like, we're so accustomed to like keep going, no breaks, and like, you feel what I'm saying? Burn yourself out and you gotta work 24/7. I'm now learning the concept of breaks, and that breaks aren't necessarily bad. Right? I have this thing inside of me, it's like if I take a break, I feel like I'm a loser. Like, yo, I worked so hard for this joint. I don't, and I feel like not productive, but taking a break is also productive.
I get it.
You feel me? So in those breaks is when I actually go back the most, and I look at documentaries, and I look at performances, right? Like those tours, like that JayZ Hard Knock Life tour. That's probably the best tour.
Probably.
Right? Probably, arguably.
Yes.
Right? Because then you got the Eminem one with like Dr. Dre, I believe, and like Snoop Dogg, right? But man, I study it so much in that instance. Yeah. When I go back and I should soak it up, you know, I should sit back and listen, and I try to understand what they embodied, to see if I can embody something similar.
That's dope.
Or at least get close to it. Yeah. You know, they embody something, dog.
That's dope. So when I used to be in the music business, before I would work on a project, I would always watch JayZ's Black Album.
Got you, documentary, when he was in the studio, Pharrell,
that did it for me every time, bro. When I just felt like I was not motivated to create music, or I just had writer's block.
Very true.
You know, when you take the craft so serious, you're very strategic when you pick beats. So
very true.
It gotta hit you and feel you, and you know what I mean? No matter how hot the beat is, it might not have just hit you one way at the time. I would always watch that documentary, and it just put me in a space like, oh, I want to go create something.
Very true. Documentaries like that, interviews too. I'm a big interview guy. I sit down and I listen to dudes talk. Right. And that's how I feel like I become bigger fans of what they are. Right. And who they are and what they represent. Deeper than music. You know, like it's way deeper than music. Like I rock with that joint, right? But when I listen to people talk, and it's more than a conversation, it kind of feels like a big brother moment, right? Like I don't know if you feel the same way. as me, but with hip hop, I feel like a lot of it is like brother figures and father figures.
Right.
You feel me?
I agree with that.
Like I grew up listening to hip hop, and sometimes my father was absent, and sometimes my grandfather was absent. You feel me?
Yeah.
In terms of that emotional connection.
That's dope.
And it's odd. It's odd because they're supposed to have that emotional connection with you.
Who's some of the people you like when it comes to like interviews that like I could watch every interview this person puts out?
Well, obviously Jay, and this is becoming a JayZ interview at this fucking point.
Right?
Nah, but obviously Jay.
Right.
I would say Nipsey Hussle. I've digested a good amount of like Nipsey Hussle interviews because he's very sharp.
Right.
The brother was very, very sharp,
That's
and
dope.
it's very unfortunate what happened to him.
Yeah.
Pac.
Yes.
I can digest. I think I've digested every Pac interview on the
Right.
face of this planet.
That's dope.
And if anybody want to bet money against it, I'm with it.
That's dope.
Yeah. Pac really. I don't know, man. It's like the underlining messages that he would leave. Like he would tell you what it is, but even under that, there's still something there. He was always giving you something more.
I feel like I understood Pac the older I got. Right.
Very true.
Like, so it was always this debate, Pac or Big, right? I always picked Big. As I got older, my thought process shifted a little bit
Very true.
to Pac. Because the stuff he was talking about then is what we going through now.
Very true.
Very prophetic. So it's like, as I got older, my answer changed.
Yes, very true. And not only in terms of like the racial climate, right? And the things that go on, but just like the way he would deliver his messages, right? It would give you that sense of like, this is more than just a rapper, man. This is more than just a musician.
Of course.
I wouldn't necessarily get that from Biggie. As great as Biggie's ridiculously phenomenal.
Agree.
Phenomenal.
Agree.
And I really wish he would have had more time to develop.
Definitely.
With more albums.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been pressure. That discography would have been pressure.
I agree.
You feel me? But man, when you hear Pac talk, like,
it's always a gem and a message, right?
It's always a gem, it's always a message, and you always connect to it.
Yeah.
Biggie was a sharp dude.
Yeah.
And you understood what he was saying.
Yeah.
But you felt what Pac was saying.
I agree with that.
You felt,
That's dope.
He made you feel.
So if we say JayZ is your number one, what's your top 5? 1 to 5 in no particular order. Even though we know Hov is 1.
Hov usually ends up at 1.
Okay.
There's three people that I never changed from my list. Right? And there's Hov, there's Nas, and there's J. Cole.
Okay. J. Cole. Okay.
J. Cole, because I grew up on J. Cole came to my life in terms of like that growing up stage, where it's like, high school to then becoming a young adult into a man. Okay. It was that prominent figure. You feel what I'm saying? Like, for sure, I related the most to him. Okay. And then the other two is always a toss-up. Okay. The other two, I can probably put Kanye there. Okay. Kanye, because he showed me to be more than an artist. Right. And I'm able to be more than an artist. And you're not just a rapper. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can be everything. You can go into fashion if you want. And you can be a producer. Right. And you can, you direct. And that's what I'm very into. I'm into like directing videos and I visualize them. That's dope. Sort of like a visionary type joint. But Kanye for sure, because he showed me that path. And then the 5th spot, always a toss-up between like Eminem one day and Kendrick the other. Okay. You feel me? Common the other. Just because B is such a legendary album. Wow. I think I got B in my top 5 albums of all time. Okay. It's very, very good.
My list is like, it changes.
Yeah, what's your list, my brother?
Hov is always number 1 on any list for me. And no matter what we talking music, we talking business, we talking. He just checks so many boxes, right? I struggle with putting Biggie and Pac both in there.
I struggle with that too.
I struggle with them both being there. So it used to be JayZ, Big, Jadakiss, Busta Rhymes.
Very, very nice.
And then it's like, do I bring Eminem? Do I bring somebody that nobody would ever think was on my list, like a Graf or a Joel Ortiz or a... So I would go JayZ, Now, Pac, back then it was big, but as I get older, I relate more to Pac, I think.
I agree.
I think Biggie, to me at that time, he was just cooler.
He
was just cooler,
I hear you,
right?
I hear you. He had a cooler demeanor, like a cooler aura, laid back.
So it was just like, but now it's JayZ, Pac, Jadakiss.
Very solid.
Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes and probably Kanye.
The hardest question you can ask a hip hop head and somebody that loves the culture.
Yeah.
But besides love, I feel like we are the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we embody the culture. That's one of the hardest things to ask somebody, bro. Because like, and these artists will probably agree as well.
Yeah.
Because they are in tune with the culture and they love the culture. And I don't think they would ever get disrespected if like, man, I'm gonna take Eminem out and put Busta. Because Eminem will probably put Busta on that.
Right. And it's crazy because like, so then think of an artist like Ross. I freaking love Rick Ross, right?
Rick Ross.
He never makes my list, but I love Rick Ross, bro.
I hear you.
I mean, just he got a sound that don't nobody sound like him. I think that's why I like JayZ. The reason Busta Rhymes is so high on my list, when I was looking at like, to me, Busta Rhymes is the best hip hop performer I ever seen at a live show.
I hear you.
His stage presence is unmatched, bro. If you ever get a chance to see a Busta, even at his age now, if you ever get a chance to see a Busta Rhymes show, go see a Busta Rhymes show. Changed my life, bro. Because I was a JayZ fan. Mm-hmm. JayZ on stage is just so cool.
He's cool.
He's mellow. Cool. You're not gonna get nothing crazy, but he got a presence that you just into what he.
Hey, let me hear what he's saying.
Right. But this Busta Rhymes is different, bro.
Very different. His energy is contagious too,
it's
man.
like, I'm like, oh my God. And I've seen him in his prime, and I've seen him over the last, maybe within the last year or two.
Oh, wow.
It's the same.
Still that same, like,
I mean,
energy.
just when you as an artist, you know how hard breath control is and all of these things when it's like effortlessly for him. And he ain't putting together no Dr. Seuss ass lyrics.
Not at all.
You know what I mean?
He's
not rapping over his track.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? And so it's just like, so that's how he ended up so high on my list.
He's a very great performer, man. That's actually one of the people I study in terms of performance. I mean, when I get on stage, and eventually I'll get on stage more.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had that many performances.
Okay.
But for the performances that I've had as a rookie,
Right.
I understood that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
At least I feel comfortable in it.
Gotcha.
I'm not really nervous. I'm not really like, shaken up by people looking at me with the lights.
Okay.
Right. And as I get older, I understand that what I'm presenting to the stage is not an image folded by the audience. It's an image that has to be accepted by the audience.
Gotcha.
Or you don't have to accept it,
Right.
but it's an image that I accepted. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I accepted and I'm presenting to you, and you won't have to respect it or you're going to have to leave. But I'm not leaving.
So what do you want somebody to take away from an Apollo Lofton show when they leave?
Well, in the future, when people go to an Apollo Lofton show, I really just want them to take, I want them to have that sense of like, obviously, like, yo, this was a good show, but like, man, he did a great job. Like, he presented himself well. He had presence. I'm not a crazy type of dude that's jumping all over the stage, and I'm not jumping. I don't even have music like that. I have some joints next to it that's like jumping, right? But I'm not even that type of performer.
You want them listening.
I want them to listen, and I also just want that aura to speak for itself. Right. You feel what I'm saying? So where it's like I can picture it on some wrestling shit, right? Like I'm a big WWF fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Gene, you hear this? He's a WWE fan.
You too?
Bro.
You rock with it? Oh, you see?
Bro, literally the last thing we shot after we shot the podcast, we went to, where did we go? AEW had a show in Miami, and we just went randomly.
But you see how they are, some of the great speakers in that arena, right? Like I pick up what they were, and like the way they should stay silent. They just look around and motherfuckers is going crazy.
They know what it is.
That aura. You know what I'm saying? So more importantly, besides me jumping around and getting people, I want that aura to speak to me. Where I just cut the music off and just look around and it's like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So you really might have just shifted this interview.
Maybe, just a little bit.
Favorite wrestlers?
Okay, let me give you my top 5. And this again changes too, because I'm such a wrestling fan.
Oh my God.
And it goes beyond the surface. I'm talking about the science. I'm talking about like what it takes to be a wrestler, like the components. You feel me? I'm gonna go with Eddie Guerrero.
Wow.
He's a very great wrestler.
Legend.
Great wrestler.
Okay.
I'll go with Stone Cold.
Okay.
Just because he shifted the culture. I mean, wrestling at that time, or maybe all the time, it was very like a very white sport.
Yeah, he disrupted,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
right?
Not in terms of disrupted. It's like now Americans, right? The usual American had a hero in terms of pro wrestling. Pro wrestling was kind of like a very white sport. Like, you know, these rednecks and these, you feel what I'm saying? These white folks.
You right.
You feel what I'm saying? And now you finally got this hero, whereas this bald head drinking beer,
cussing his balls.
You feel what I'm saying? You got something.
The middle class version of people.
Exactly.
They can relate to that.
You feel what I'm saying? But he had this. He had it.
That's dope.
I'm gonna put John Cena up there.
Okay.
Just because he transcended, you know, just like Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan did.
Of course.
You know. I'm gonna put Kurt Angle up there. I'm gonna put Kurt Angle up there because of his wrestling ability.
Wow. You hear this list, G?
Hey, his counters.
Wow.
Like the Undertaker match in 2006 and No Mercy.
That's a real fan here, yo.
Yeah, I love this.
Giving y'all dates in arenas and matches.
He countered everything. I automatically a big fan.
Wow.
And the World Heavyweight title looked phenomenal on him, honestly. And then number 5, I would have to pick, and this is always, again, a toss-up between like Bret Hart and like Chris Jericho. Honestly, Chris Jericho, for the simple fact of how he reinvents himself.
I love that about Chris
His
Jericho.
mic skills.
Love that about Chris Jericho.
His technical skill. He really knows what he's talking about with wrestling, man.
He is like Booker's dream of how he can reinvent from the Le Champion to the when he had the list, like he's the Lionheart back in WCW.
Exactly.
He's been able to reinvent himself a lot.
Razor Ramon, he had an interview where he was talking about like the split personality type of joint, where he was like, man, Razor Ramon, that's the man, but Scott is going through hell. You feel what I'm saying? Like every time I walk through those curtains, like I'm not worried about nothing. I'm Razor Ramon. But people love Razor, but when I go back and it's Scott is having all these problems. And that opened up my mind in terms of like I knew, like, you know when you know something but then it hits you again and you realize it, like you finally, it's you know, like it's synced in.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, bro. Like we're all just characters, dog. We can be whatever we want to be. As long as nobody calls your bluff. As long as you don't call your own bluff, actually. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's like I give this example to my homeboys all the time. Like right now, if you go somewhere where they don't know you, and you say your name is whatever it is, if you're Jose, your name might be Josh. Yeah. But if you say you're Jose, dog, until somebody proves that you're not.
That's a fact.
And it's the same thing with like whatever. Yeah. I'm Apollo Lofton.
That's dope.
Who's to say I'm not?
Right.
You feel me? And as long as you believe that 100%, you're in there.
So when I hear your name, that's not your real name, is it?
No.
How do you get that name?
Well,
it sounds like something already when I hear it.
Thank you so much. Because I was actually contemplating it.
Really?
Yeah, bro. Because as I get older,
I heard some crazy names, bro. But Apollo Lofton sounds like
something.
It sounds like
thank you so much,
somebody already important that everybody need to know.
Thank you so much, brother.
So how you get that name?
So I mean, on a deeper level, it came from like the necessity of having like a nickname, and like a persona. Like I grew up with everybody around me basically having nicknames. In middle school, everybody had a fucking nickname, and I'm just regular Guillermo, and I'm like, man, I want a nickname, dog. Right. And it's not until I discovered that I can rap and actually put these things together, where it's like the idea came where I can make a nickname for myself now. I don't have to wait until somebody crowns me. You feel me? Because nicknames back then I think were given.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so and so. Oh, that's Pookie. That's whatever.
Right.
You feel me?
Family gave you some name.
Whatever the case is, or friends gave you the name, and then you run with it in school, and that's like, oh yeah, that's whatever.
Nothing, no. God.
So then, like, you know, I grew up and I realized this talent, this ability, and now I understand, like, oh shit, I gotta make up a rap name.
Right.
And being the student that we are, right, of the game, is like, man, let me search up the, you know, what music space in the Mecca of New York. Like, let me see what that was like in the Apollo Theater. Was something that always came to me.
That's dope.
It probably came to everybody who researched music because it's so rich in musical history. But it's like Apollo Theater, so I just grabbed the Apollo, and I called myself Apollo all the way till high school ended.
Okay.
And it stuck, and I realized like, oh, people are actually calling me this shit. This shit's pretty dope.
That's dope.
After high school, I realized that Apollo by itself wasn't gonna work.
Okay.
I need something else. I need something to make it sound like an actor, like you feel what I'm saying, like a movie star. Like I need something that's gonna make it sound like an artist, like a Kendrick Lamar, even J. Cole, JayZ. I need that. I need that thing. So Lofton was just like Googling shit, bro.
Wow.
I Googled like last names literally, and I'm growing through A, B, C all the way to L. And it's like Apollo Lofton, Apollo Lofton.
Wow.
Let me see if it sticks, and it did stick. Like it rolled off the tongue nice.
That's dope.
And as I got older, I kind of contemplated it, like I was saying, because I'm getting pretty good at making names up for album titles, for like movies, for record labels, God Body Records. You feel me?
Right.
For different things. And I realized that obviously Apollo is not so original. The Lofton makes it original as a whole. Apollo by itself.
Right.
So I've always contemplated that. There's always like that niche in my armor a little bit, because it's like, damn, it's not all the way original.
I like it though.
I created a nickname for myself. I'm gonna call myself Sire. You feel what I'm saying? Apollo Lofton, also known as Sire. Like, you know how like JayZ has Hova, J Hova, Messiah, Sire. You feel what I'm saying? Just cut that off. That's a page off his book again.
I like it.
You feel me?
That's
Young
dope.
Sire.
So I don't want to say like newfound fame. I want to say new attention.
For sure.
A lot of press on Apollo Lofton after this Drake video surfaces. Why I was so passionate about seeing this video is because I came from the era of waiting at a radio station to meet an artist. At this time, Power 99 was the biggest station in Philadelphia. At the time, I believe it was Diddy.
Got you. And he was there?
Diddy was coming there.
Oh.
The line to meet Diddy at this radio station was like a Jordan release. And I'm like, Diddy's never gonna get
Was that a vibe kill for you?
It wasn't a vibe kill. It was just like, I thought I was privy to some exclusive information.
Got you.
But when I seen the line, clearly, I wasn't privy to shit.
You were like number 200. It's like,
it was just like, did we get a blasted email that everybody got? Like, yo, you could get a CD.
Hey.
So when I see this video, and I'm like, that takes me back to the studying of when I listened to a Big Sean, how he met Kanye, or I listened to a J. Cole, how he meets JayZ. I see this Apollo Lofton meets Drake vibe, and it brings me to those names, the Big Seans, the J. Coles,
Got you.
the whoever Master P might have signed back then, or how maybe Biggie finds a Diddy, or whatever the case may be. What was you thinking when you was approaching that? Did you know it was gonna do that?
That I know it was going to turn into whatever it turned into. Like, we never know. But I did have a feeling in my stomach. But I can't forget that feeling in my stomach now. Because before I went, and I want to say this on camera again, just in case anybody's listening, like maybe doubting themselves. Bro, I was doubting myself so much before that. So much, bro. I got the call, right? It's like, yo, Drake is going to be here for sure. For sure, like, it's not, like, he's going to be here.
Right.
So if you want to do something, come over here and, like, test your luck. And automatically, I start overthinking, because I start overthinking, like, man, maybe fans is going to be there.
Yeah.
Yo, security's going to be crazy. He just dropped Certified Lover Boy.
Of course.
This is 2 weeks out. This
course.
is still rollout time. This is still press time. This is
right.
Like, you feel me? So I'm like, bro, there's no way in hell
Yeah.
this is going to be, you know? And I'm just laying down, bro, and I'm looking at my whiteboard, and I got the track list for my next project, and I know what I'm sitting on. I know what I'm sitting on, and it's pressure. I know what I'm sitting on. And I'm looking at it, dog, and I get this funny feeling inside, like, fuck it. Like, just fuck it. Right. You feel me? All this overthinking, bro, like, fuck it.
Let's go do something.
So I show up, bro. And when I show up with my homeboy, thankfully, my homeboy Sammy was available. And not only was he available, but he was available to help out.
Of course.
You know, there's a difference between being available and then being available to work, you know, to work with you and like see if he can fuck with me. He went and picked up the speaker himself, brought it to me, and he's like, man, let's go. So we slide over there, and when we get there, there's nobody there. Matter of fact, besides nobody being there, one of my main worries was like, man, if I'm gonna play him a joint off the speaker, I don't want cars passing by, dog. That's gonna kill the vibe too.
Right.
And I'm not gonna have a conversation with him because he doesn't know me. He's not gonna have no conversation with me.
Right.
People wanna have conversations with this man all the time.
Of course.
Bro, we get there and nobody's there. We get there and no cars are passing by. We get there and it's so silent that I get goosebumps right there, and I look at Sammy, I'm like, this is God's work, bro. I'm supposed to be here. What you talking about? Like, all my nervousness went away.
Set.
Yeah, it went away completely. Because I knew in that moment it was a divine, like, moment. It was divine timing. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, nothing could have taken that away from me. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that.
Right.
Security came out a couple times smoking cigarettes, walking the block. And let me tell you, he's moving militant. You know that shit he be talking about in songs?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Right.
Cars parked down the block.
Yeah.
Feel what I'm saying? Armored trucks on the other side.
Shit.
Everything covered. You're talking about security walking the premises. Like, he's moving like that. They ain't giving me no hard time. You feel me? They looked at me, just nodded his heads like, yo, this is going smoother. This is, what's going on?
Why all aligning right?
Why is this planned out so perfectly?
Right.
You feel me? And when he came out, that's exactly what happened. You know, we made that eye contact. I ain't say shit to him because I knew I wasn't supposed to say shit to him because he wasn't going to receive that.
Right.
It had to be strategic. It had to be as soon as he sees me, press play, volume all the way up. There was a freestyle over one of his joints. He signed to Wayne, so he already knows the freestyle game and what that brings. You feel me? and yeah, that's all she wrote. You know, he told the security to like stop recording, and I went over his car. You feel me? And we chopped it up.
That's dope.
And the best part about it is that it didn't fold, bro. You know, a lot of people would have folded in that situation. A lot of people would have probably gotten nervous in that situation. You feel me? Especially because his name was so hyped at that time.
Of course.
Besides that, it's Drake.
Of course.
But then you add I just dropped the album and the press, and now we're breaking records.
Yeah.
Anybody with that in their mind would have probably stood in front of him like, feel me, shaking up, like, yo, this is so and so. But it's like, nah, bro. Focused. Fuck that. I'm here, bro. Right. I'm here. I'm hungry. Like, you feel what I'm saying? My mother's homeless. My brother, I can't afford. What you talking about? Feel me? And he felt that. Like, I saw it in his face. Like, yo,
that's dope.
What's up with this cat? You feel me? Hey, what's your Instagram? Boom, we chopped it up, and now he's following me.
It's so crazy in this day and age of influence and social media. So I think I was following you before any of this happened, right? So we had already had some back and forth in the DMs anyway. And I sit back and watch stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm like, kudos to him for that shit.
Thank you, my brother.
Because it's deeper than the music. It's really like you had a plan. You didn't just go into it unprepared, right?
Not at all.
I always talk about this success when preparation meets opportunity, right? People don't be prepared for the opportunities they want.
Not at all.
And seeing that, I'm like, this motherfucker was prepared.
More than prepared. I mean, matter of fact, like as soon as he hit follow and he told me the things that he told me in terms of like, you know, just basic surface level shit, like, yo, I rock with your shit.
Yeah.
Feel me? Keep going. You know, I'm gonna keep an eye out for you. Like, just motivating shit like that. Like, yo, this is Drake saying this shit to me. This is not like, even if it was an average cat, I would still appreciate it. But like, this is the dude who has conquered everything I'm trying to conquer.
Right.
You feel me? As soon as he drives off, he didn't even hit the stop sign before I uploaded the cover art to the freestyle that I already played for him.
Right.
And I tagged him on the story, yo, tonight.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? I already had the cover art. I already had the animation. I already had the release premiering that night.
Prepared.
Prepared. What better rollout than that? You feel what I'm saying? Like, prepared. Over a Drake beat off his new album. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, man, it was supposed to happen like that, dog. I can't write nothing better than that. No verse can equal what God wrote for me right there.
Crazy.
It was crazy, bro. When he saw the story, and it was kind of like a, you know, like,
that's dope.
All right, you prepared.
This is what I be talking about. Y'all see that when preparation meets opportunity, this is what happens. You got a lot of press from that fucking thing.
I did, man.
I'm just like, I couldn't turn off my social media without seeing
Apollo Lofton.
Every blog, rap, podcast, like, I'm just like, man.
I think a big part of that is what you said, bro. It's the nostalgia feel.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because I don't think we've seen a moment like that in this era. You know? And who knows, maybe it blows up to be an even bigger thing. Right? But we haven't seen a moment like that in this era.
I agree.
We didn't get to see a recording of J. Cole going to JayZ. Imagine if we did.
Right.
Imagine if we had a recording when Big Sean spit to Kanye. Imagine if we did. But we have Apollo Lofton and Drake. And if this turns into what they turned into, then this is documentary shit.
That's dope.
You feel what I'm saying?
And this is why I think, like, for the people or the artists or whatever you do at home, this is proof that sometimes you just gotta go and do the shit.
You gotta go out, man. If I would have sat home overthinking and like just sitting with my doubt, you feel me? Which is so easy to do. It's so easy to just, I could have just sat down and like, nah, there's nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
You feel me? I would have lost the opportunity. We wouldn't be here. Right? The press wouldn't be there. The people wouldn't have this sense of like recognition for me.
Of course.
Because it went from Apollo Lofton trying to be an artist in the public eye.
Right.
I'm always an artist. I've always carried myself as an artist. Right? But they call you crazy before you do it. And then they call you an ingenious after you do it. That's always, it always happens that way, right? It went from trying to be an artist to the artist. Or to the artist that got discovered by Drake.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Crazy.
If I would have stayed at home, none of that would have happened.
That's dope.
I would have, you know, 11,000 followers or whatever. And I don't even fuck with follower count like that, right?
How fast did that grow up?
Like in 2 days.
So what was you at before
like
the
3.
Drake shit? 3?
Like 3. Barely at 3. It was always like, you know,
2,900.
Yeah, 2,900. And then sometimes it'll just go crazy after a freestyle or something. It'll go to 31.
Yeah.
And then after a few days of not posting, it'll go to 30, 50 or whatever. You feel me? I'm not a big follower dude.
Right.
But I'm wise enough to like recognize, like, at least now I have a bigger platform than I did then.
Of course.
And it's a little bit more genuine because of the story they followed. They followed me through that.
Gotcha.
So now I have something to show.
Yeah.
Like I got people I can show my shit to. And if it's good, I can double up.
Right.
And if I double up off of them, then it's just, you know, I'm a hustler. I'm gonna keep on doubling up.
That's dope. So I'm gonna get off the Drake stuff. We seen him go viral with Drake.
Yes.
But he's talented. So if Drake didn't see him, he's still talented, right? So
we would have found a way. But you know, God's a good writer. I always say that.
God sped it up.
God sped it up.
Right? So talk to me about what you're working on now. What can we expect? You was telling me a little bit about the new project.
Yes, I'm working on the new project, Chaos is Necessary. Chaos is necessary. It's a good title. You feel what I'm saying?
That's a good title.
Chaos is necessary. It's like this philosophy of life. You feel what I'm saying? I went through a lot of hardships like we all do, right? But what I learned through my hardships and that process is that I can't run away from this shit, man. As much as I try to run away from it, I always end up running into it again. I have to face it. And besides facing it, I got to embrace it because it's never going away.
Chaos is necessary.
Chaos is necessary. Chaos, you know, it's like the troubles, the pain, the trauma that you've been through.
Yeah.
It's necessary because without those bad moments and without that pain and without that suffering, those embarrassing moments or whatever the case is, that shit that makes you feel something bad inside, you wouldn't be who you are. Wow. There's lessons in that. There's game in that.
Of course.
You feel me? So chaos is necessary. I'm thinking maybe the first 4 months of the next year.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
You feel
me?
So
talk to me about the visuals to accompany that project.
Well, the visuals, I'm gonna start shooting that soon. But then I got this visual called Never Trust a Soul. Dropping in January, in the middle of January. It's a banger of a video, directed by myself, directed by one of my homeboys too. Indie.
Right.
Feel what I'm saying? No budget.
Right.
Off the muscle. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
how important is that for you to have creative control over what the visuals look like?
Extremely important.
Okay.
Extremely important because I'm a visual person.
Got it.
I have these ideas in my head, and you know, as I get older and I get more into this game, I let go a little bit of that necessity of like, I gotta get my hands on everything.
Right.
Like I let go a little bit, and I have more trust in the people I'm working with, and you feel what I'm saying? I'm more flexible with ideas.
Gotcha.
I'm less stubborn.
Okay.
Right. But it does have to at least be in the same world of what I envisioned at first.
Got you.
Right? Like for example, I want this shot, right? But then, you know, my homeboy's like, this shot might work better. I'm flexible in that space now.
Okay.
You feel me? Never trust a soul is, I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that because I haven't seen a music video like that come out of Miami ever. With no budget.
That's dope.
You feel me?
So I wanna, for the people at home listening or inspiring artists or creatives, whatever you do, you an artist or you're a painter, whatever. So this everyday game changers, we really want to focus on just everyday people that's changing the game. You've definitely done that for yourself and continue to change the game. Leave us with like one piece of advice you want to give to that person that they want to do this music shit, right? They it's plenty of doubts. They like, man, am I gonna make it? They family ain't believing in them. They friends is hating on them on the low. What advice could you give to that artist?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, there's so much advice you can give, right? And this advice will probably change in my next conversation with you or whoever the case is. But today's advice is that there's power in saying fuck it. Fuck it. You feel what I'm saying? You want to go do something, fuck it, go do it.
Right.
Feel what I'm saying? Like, just go do it. Like, literally take pride in just saying fuck it and go do it. Fuck the judgment, fuck the opinions, fuck your own criticism. You feel me? Just go do it.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man, I would have been stuck at home.
That's dope.
Still, you know what I'm saying? Contemplating. I probably would have still contemplated, damn, what if I would have gone and showed my shit to Drake? What would have happened?
Right.
You know? I said fuck it. And I just went and did it.
See what the fuck it gets you done. Shit get done when you say fuck it, man.
Yeah, man, it's just...
I'm your host, man, Barion McQueen. This has been another episode of the Everyday Game Changers. I'm so appreciative to have you come through.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to see if I can get an instrumental, and I'm going to see if we can get him to do some bars for me. That's going to be exclusive, though.
Uh-oh.
Everyday Game Changers, man. Barion McQueen, I'm out, man.
Tune in, man. Thank you, man.